Starting. Oh, I think it's live already.
Oh, is it? Is it live yet?
I think it is.
Yeah, it says watching now. Yep, there it is. Yep, there it is. There we are.
Live already.
We're live. We are live.
Live yet?
Yes, it's live. Oh my gosh, we still have to.
Yep, there it is. Yep, there it is. There we are.
Okay, we still have to work out the bugs. So,
Yeah, please forgive us. Please forgive us. This is kind of interesting, new to us, you know.
Yes, that's right.
Go from a radio show to live thing, you know, it's quite a bit of difference.
It makes it a lot different. Well, hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Veridical tonight. I'm Sherry, and with me tonight is my co-host Paul.
Howdy. Hey, what's up? What's up?
We're still working out all the bugs and whatnot of going live on YouTube. I don't know if you heard Paul mention just recently that it's so different from our Veridical radio show.
Yeah.
I absolutely, I have to get full face and all that. Make sure my hair is nice. And this with the TV show versus I could sit in my jammies.
Yeah.
On the radio show or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Just get all comfortable and just have a good conversation, Yeah.
So how has your week been, Paul?
It's been pretty busy. This has been a very busy week for me. Usually I have time to prepare for a show such as like ours. And I was so busy that I just literally just prepared like in the last hour.
Oh.
So I just barely got it all figured out, in that bit of time,
Right. Yeah, I usually prepare 2 or 3 days in advance. You know me, so.
Yeah, I know, and I wish I was like that, but that's just sometimes I get so busy. I'm just like, oh my gosh, and then I forget. Then I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to prepare for the show for Friday. Yeah. and then I go into panic mode. You know how it is.
Well, I do want to let everybody know that I'm having an issue with the blurriness of my camera. And it was pointed out to me last week in live chat that it was probably my bandwidth. Well, sure enough, it is my bandwidth. So I'm not going to be able to do really much at this point. I mean, I have good camera, good computers, to be able to handle live streaming, but I do apologize. It's out of my control. My internet provider is like, I would say an hour, maybe hour and a half from me. And I'm in a valley between a bunch of mountains. Yeah. So
right.
It can't be helped. I do apologize. Thank you anyway for watching and putting up with the blurriness on my side anyway.
Right. And there's not really a lot you can do about that because that's just how your landscape's and laid out,
Right. And they're the only internet provider here in my little town. So
really, wow,
yeah, that's it. I have no other choice other than I'm wrong. Other than a DSL.
You don't want DSL.
Yeah, no. I would rather just put up with a little bit of blurriness.
Right. Most definitely.
Right, and this series live every week. It's just relaxed atmosphere in our easy chairs. I'm going to be wearing my t-shirts and all kinds of stuff. So I thank you everybody for tuning in, even if you're not here live with us, for watching the show after, I guess you call it on demand.
Right.
So I thank you everybody for doing that. And if you could just click the subscribe button, that would really, really help me reach the goal that I'm wanting to reach within. I set my goals kind of high. I'm wanting to reach certain goals within a couple of months. So please click the subscribe button if you like what you see. And I guess we'll be starting now on our topic. And
all right, let's do it.
Is Mr. Paul.
The topic is dangers of investigating the paranormal.
Yes. And
That is a big,
this may take us 20 minutes or an hour or 2 hours. Who knows? But
right.
very important. It's a subject that not many people talk about.
Well, yeah, because a lot of people, when they think about investigating the paranormal, they don't realize, what that entails. I mean, some people say, "Hey, let's go check out a cemetery, or let's go check out a whatever location," and they don't put the thought processes to and through of what liabilities there are, things of that nature.
Correct. It's just, excuse me. A lot of people are just out for the fun factor.
Right.
The fear factor.
For the thrill of it.
Yes. Oh, hi, Eloy.
Oh, hey, Eli. How are you, buddy?
I'm going to try to type here.
Go ahead. Go ahead. But yeah, there's so many, when you plan an actual investigation, such as like what we would do, there's so much goes into the planning.
Yes.
And we don't just jump in and say, okay, let's do it. There's so much. I mean, even when you go in for the preliminary investigation, whether it's an actual client or whether it's just doing something just to do it, for thrills, you still have to take the time to, do your research on the location. What have other paranormal investigators ran into on the location, things like that.
Right. And, this is you're talking about actual investigators.
Well, actual investigators, first and foremost, actual investigators, but there's people that just, like you had said just now, or just a little bit ago, there's people that just want to go have a thrill. And this, and this can apply to them too, as well.
Yes. Right. Now, if you want to go ahead and, I know you wanted to talk about certain things that you'd been doing some research on actual paranormal investigators who had stuff going on with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One that brings to mind is, and obviously I can't say, I don't think I can say names for legality reasons or what they were part of, things of that nature. But there were some people, actual investigators, 4 years ago, that were involved with a certain TV show. I'll just say TV show, just, paranormal show. They did investigating with some other teams that on this show. Well, what happened is they got into something that was dark, evidently, because what had happened is they conducted, quite a few investigations over the years, and I can't give you a number or anything of that nature, but what had happened was, make a long story short, he wound up, it wound up being a murder suicide. He was influenced to kill his spouse, which was one of the investigators, and then he killed himself.
Wow.
Yeah, and as most people know, like Sherry and I and others that are listening, and you're involved in this kind of a thing, and you come in contact with a dark energy, spirit, ghost, whatever your term for it is, it can get extremely dangerous because you don't know what you're bringing back with you. I want to say, hey, to Katie in the chat, hey.
Hi, Katie. Thank you for tuning in and joining us. Oh my gosh, it's so good that you're here.
Yeah, it sure is. I'm glad to see her in the chat. That's fantastic.
Her and Eloy, it just made my day.
Big thumbs up. Yeah, big thumbs up. And and that's just one of probably hundreds of situations that have happened. There's some that's undocumented. There's some that's documented and some that's undocumented.
Okay, so this person, he was a paranormal investigator or just?
Yes, he was an actual paranormal investigator. Yes, him and his wife both were paranormal and get investigators both.
Right.
And they have been on this TV show
Right.
on numerous episodes over the years.
Right. And also other shows.
Yes, and they've been on other shows as well. Yes,
Yeah,
that
it
is
was all
correct.
documented, so you can say their names. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all in the news and it's all been out there, so you're fine if you want to.
Right.
If you're comfortable with that. So
Yeah, I can. I have to look at my notes. I'm sorry. If you have to give me a second. If you want to talk about something while I'm trying to look that up real quick.
Oh, that's okay. I just wanted to say hi to Katie again and Eloy, and I'm really excited about tonight. So we're learning, so bear with us.
Yeah, we sure are.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I got the names. I'm sorry.
Nope.
His name is Mark Constantino and his wife Deborah,
Okay.
and they were actually they classified themselves as EVP specialists.
Okay.
So that was what their classification was. But I think and that it had talked about that he abused her and things of that nature. A lot of stuff happened that nobody knew about. Kind of a thing. And but look how long they've been investigating places with this certain TV show and other TV shows. There's a high probability that something attached to him was dark, and that's what caused him to do what he
Or
did.
even her too. You just never know. That might have.
And or. Right. So that's an example of something that went bad to actual paranormal investigators. That's why you got to be careful, with what you come in contact with and things of that nature. You know what I mean?
Right. And it just goes to show you that no matter how well you protect yourself,
Right.
things can still happen. I mean, and it does to all of us.
It does. It does. Because a lot of times investigations I've been on, in my experience, sometimes if you come into a dark, you're into a dark entity, things of that nature, you feel different. You don't feel like yourself.
Right.
A lot of times. And I'm not saying that's for everybody. I'm just saying for me, I've experienced that myself, where I didn't feel like myself after, it was like something was trying to take a hold or grab, grab my soul and latch on. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And it took me some time not just that evening, not necessarily, but it took me several days to get over that.
Right.
That makes sense.
After an investigation. What
Right.
now? Did you say your prayers afterwards and cleanse and do the stretching? You know what I mean?
I did. Yes, I did. And I did my normal practices.
Right.
Practices might be a wrong word. I don't practice anything that's not of God, but
Right.
just I wore my cross. Wore my Native American necklace that I wear that was made by a Native American person. Prayed. Did the love. Did the light around you, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And where this happened at was at the jail.
Oh, that's right. What you talked about last week.
That dark entity did not like us, and it especially didn't like me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, even though you make sure that you do the things that you always do, it can still happen. And that just brings me to the subject of the people who don't know what they're doing. Can you imagine?
Oh man!
They're going into this for the fun factor, the fear factor, the oh my gosh, you know, get the crap scared out of me.
Right.
And they go home and leave. And they have no idea what they're dealing with.
No, they don't.
Whether you're 13 or 83, it doesn't matter.
Well, no, and you know what? And they don't.
You need to be educated. You need to be. You just can't go into something like this, and just because you want to get scared, because you're going to get scared.
Yes.
But then a lot of times you won't either.
Right. You know, and like Katie said in the chat, she said, "Yep, they just want to get scared and see ghosts." You know,
Yeah,
that's what they're, you know,
and that's what makes it really bad, because you have all these impressionable kids, young adults, and even adults like us who do not know anything about the paranormal, and they hear of things like, you know, like, oh my gosh, there's a ghost tour, or let's go to this, and they're going to be doing this and this and this and that. If they're not educated or protected, a lot of things could potentially happen.
Yeah, you know, especially if they go into a location, like a dark location with some, you know, dark energies or dark spirits or whatever the case may be, you know, they go into it blind.
Yes, and I'm not saying that the tours are bad,
right?
Because a lot of them are made due to the fact of like helping the community out.
Right,
like,
right.
You can guarantee 99% of those types of tours, those paranormal investigators know the dangers,
right,
and know what they're dealing with and how to protect the public, even if they don't know how. And you can hear my whistles going off.
Yeah, yeah.
I live like there's the alleyway, and then there's like the fire department.
Right,
so
right next door.
I can't control like guys.
Yeah, right next door. You know, and Katie was wondering which jail that I'm talking about. We investigated a 3-story jail with about 30 cells some years ago, Katie, that had a lot of dark energies in this jail. And it was actually a pretty dangerous location. One of our investigators was attacked, and things like that. And, you know, I talked about it last week, but I'll touch on it this week too a little bit. But there were some dark spirits in there that didn't like to be messed with, and they chased us around. They slammed one of the jail cell cage, or cage is not the right word, but one of the jail cell doors was slammed to one of my investigators, and he was severely bruised. There was a lot of violence in that jail. You know, a lot of violent people were in that jail. That one cell that we did the investigation in, we focused ourselves on. He had actually murdered some people, so it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that you know, I remember when you went back. You know, didn't you go like a couple of times to that?
We went. Yes, we went back. We went there 3 times, and on each occasion, there was an incident of a violent incident of some sort.
Wow.
So the 3rd time, we decided, well, this is enough. You know, then we're not going to do it anymore.
Right. Yeah, because everybody was in high risk of
getting hurt.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And that, you know, I just wish. Oh, I just get so aggravated. I watch on YouTube so many things, so many videos, and I'm thinking, okay, please show me a true paranormal investigator.
Right, exactly.
You know, and a lot of it is entertainment. I like how they go, is anybody there?
Right.
Something has happened. So they're calling out and letting the person behind the door or whatever know that they're fixing to come into that room. I'm going to tell you what, it's like, for me, I mean, this is off the subject, but it's like, okay, you know, what's the first thing that you do when you're scared, Paul? I mean, genuinely like freaked out. What do you do?
What do I do?
Yes.
I just stay calm and just relaxed, and I try to determine what's causing me to feel this
No,
way.
I mean, like if we're all in a situation and you hear something, what is the first thing that you do? For me, I shut the hell up.
Get quiet, things of that nature.
Yeah. So it's like with all these other shows, they're like, oh my gosh, did you hear that? Blah, 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 blah. They got to explain all this stuff, you know, because they're signaling to the other person who, even though they've said 150,000 times that they're alone in this video.
Right.
You know?
Oh, yeah. You know, and there's so much of that. There is so much of that out there. It's not.
Oh my gosh, it's so aggravated.
And here we go talking about this off subject, but there's so much of that out there. It's not even funny. I mean, you could just watch one video after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other, and it's just the same crap over and over and over.
Yes, I get I do. I get very, very frustrated. But I do have to say that there is one that I had seen that I've kind of been watching, and it's a young man and his girlfriend, and he even brings his family, his mother and dad, which I think it's kind of neat that he calls his dad by his first name, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The Paranormal Files here on YouTube, and I'm telling you guys, go check them out. They're in college, him and his girlfriend.
Right.
But they respect what they're doing. They're actually taking this seriously. He even says to people all the time, you know, be respectful of these spirits. Do not provoke, things like that. So it is really refreshing when, you know, go check them out. And if you watch your videos, just say, hey, you know, Veridical TV sent us. And I really enjoy this young man and his girlfriend. They really are doing a great job. They still have a lot to learn, and they get excited a lot, which is normal. But because I still do, you know.
Oh yeah, so do I.
I get excited. It's like, oh my gosh, I got this evidence. You know what I mean? But so they're really good. I honestly think that you guys will enjoy them as well. So.
Oh yeah. You know, there's some good ones out there like them, and I'm sure there's others as well. You know that are similar. I'm sure, but the majority.
I have searched and searched.
the majority that I've seen is just now.
No, and I really do like these guys, these young kids. Well, I shouldn't say kids, young adults. My children, my kids.
Right. But you know, Katie had a question in the chat. You know, when I was referring to the jail, was there any provocation done? And I'm going to say no. I don't allow provocating on any investigation that I do. If there's any provocation to be done, I do it, or my co-lead investigator does it. Nobody else is allowed to provoke anything. So that's just to answer her question that she had in the chat.
Right.
So.
Well, let's get on the subject, okay, of the dangers. And the first and foremost, trespassing. Many paranormal enthusiasts seems to be oblivious.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Ignoring safety issues is a major problem in this field.
Right.
A lot of locations, Paul, and to everybody out there, are decommissioned buildings like hospitals, asylums, etc., you know, things like that. And these types of buildings are horribly dilapidated places that are full of asbestos and pathogens.
Right.
That's just to start out.
Right.
And not only are you exposing yourself to pathogens, you're exposing yourself to like structural hazards, asbestos, all kinds of things.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You know, and the chance of personal injury is I mean, it's quite high actually. They're very safe environments, but people ignore it.
They do.
There's so many ways that you could potentially injure yourself when you go into these buildings.
Right. There sure is.
Fear factor.
Right. Right.
Fun factor.
Yeah, and a lot of times people are watching those facilities. A lot of times, there's some there's some security guards you cannot see, and they will not hesitate to call the police, and you'll be taking a trip to jail.
Exactly. I mean, and the major risks are like falling through the floor, going up stairways, and they crumble down, or the roof falls in. You know, or you could step on nails and glass and things like that. But when you go cut through a fence, or you go through a fence that's already been cut, don't do it, folks. Just don't. And I'm talking to adults too.
Yeah. You know? It says no trespassing for a reason.
Exactly. Never, ever, ever, ever enter an abandoned building without permission. I mean, they're boarded up for a reason. It's to keep people out because it's unsafe and it's private property. Let me just say this. When you go to an abandoned building without permission, it's like you're going into someone's home while they're sleeping.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, that's creepy.
And the place, the place could be very active and all those kinds of things, but it's not worth the liabilities that you come in contact with when you do things like this. You're risking getting, like Sherry said, you're risking getting hurt. You could perhaps be risking getting killed. Because
that's why they have the no trespassing signs, the do not enter signs, there, folks. It's to protect you from doing something stupid that might cause your own death or someone that you're there with. Right. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. Always get permission from the owner or the property, whoever owns the property. Always get permission from them. I mean, even if it says no trespassing, you can still get permission. Then all they'll say is, well, no, because it's too dangerous, or no, the floors are falling through. No. I mean, there's a reason that they'll give you a reason, but you just always ask for permission. If you track down who owns it, say, hey, can we go check this place out? And then if it's an okay place to do that, he'll say yes. Or if it's not, they'll say no. And they may give you a reason why. So always get permission. Don't just go in and just say because you want the thrill.
Exactly. I mean, because you could get arrested, and it doesn't matter how old you are. 12.
No, it don't.
Or 80, whatever, if you're going out doing all that stuff. You always get permission to investigate at a location. I mean, you'll have more time to think about the actual investigation itself versus worrying about, oh my God, is the police coming? Or, you run into even worse, you run into a homeless person that's made that their house. What are they going to do? They're going to protect themselves.
Right.
They're not going to be so happy that you're there in their home.
That's right. That's right. And I would just suggest, like I said, I mean, I hate to repeat it again, but get permission, folks. Get permission, man. It's not worth the trouble. It's not worth the liability.
Exactly. And you got a lot of the young kids that are impressionable, and they think, we were young once. I was, believe it or not. I'm not going to tell you my age, but
yeah, well, we were all young once.
Yeah.
And I will be the first to admit that I have trespassed before doing investigations, but it's only been a couple of times, and I have not done it since. I don't do it no more. And
that's good that you learned. I mean,
yeah, I learned the first time. It's not how you do it.
It's like, that's just wrong.
It is. And then after some time, I said, you know what? This is not cool, because I got to thinking about, everything we've talked about, and I'm thinking this is not good. So haven't done it since, but it's been quite a few number of years ago. I was in my 20s. But
Yeah, I mean, we've all done it at one point, but then we realized this is not kosher. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, definitely know what you. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So can you read anything in the chat? I
Yeah.
don't have my glasses.
Yeah, Katie's talking, and she said that she's trespassed twice. Once at an abandoned winery, we were there. We were very careful, and once in an abandoned cemetery. And then she was a troublemaker now, but she's good.
Katie. Shame, shame, shame.
Right, right. It's all good. It's all good.
Yes. Katie just said, always carry first aid. But, a lot of kids don't. They don't even think about it. But for the investigators, I always have a first aid kit with me because I know better now. So,
Yeah, yeah. Because Katie's an angel now.
yeah. Well, Paul, I would like for you to real quickly tell a couple of stories that about, you had done some research about actual investigators that have been possibly possessed, or even, you had sent me a bunch of things
Right.
on the phone earlier. So I would like for you to get into that, and then we'll get in deeper to the subject as well. So.
Okay, I can do that. And this subject regards the use of Ouija boards. For those in the chat that aren't familiar with what those are, they're it's a game. It's actually sold at Toys R Us as a game. But most of us that know about what they can do know that they're not a game. And we know it's not a game. For instance, I'm going to read this, and I quote: "The largest outbreak of illness attributed to a Ouija board took place between October 2006 and June 2007 at a girls-only Catholic boarding school near Mexico City, Mexico. Students at the girl town school reportedly a variety of symptoms, including headaches and difficulty walking. Some students could not only walk with the help of their friends. Symptoms would suddenly go away and just as suddenly recur. Of a student population of 4,000 kids, 512 were affected. Mexican psychiatrists investigated the outbreak and diagnosed it to be a case of mass psychogenic illness, aka mass hysteria, and traced it back to the student who had used a Ouija board to try to influence the outcome of a school basketball game. And that's one of the circumstances that that I'm talking about. The Ouija board is not a game. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you've used the Ouija board 10,000 times. It's not a game. It's known as the Ouija board, aka witch board. And people use this to contact entities from the other realm. And a lot of people that use Ouija boards don't know how to properly open the session, nor do they know how to properly close the session. So when they quit using the Ouija board, it leaves an open portal for anything and everything that wants to come through
Exactly.
And and basically it's a note that I wrote. It says Ouija board sessions open a door that result in demonic influence such as oppression and or possessions. That's another thing. You don't know what you're coming in contact with. You don't know what it's going to do to you as the person using the board. You could be possessed or oppressed to do some harm to others. You want to add anything to this, Sherry?
No, I mean, you're exactly right. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, it's just not a game, man, folks. I mean, I don't care who you are or what you think, but Ouija boards are not a game. Here's another quote that I noted, if it's okay if I read this real quick. In November 2014, 35 students of a school in Santa Cruz de Cerrillo, Bolivia, were taken to the hospital for treatment after playing with the Ouija board, known locally as the cup game. They call it the cup game.
The cup game?
The cup game. They call the Ouija board session the cup game. They were reportedly suffering from mental agitation and confusion, profuse sweating, rapid pulses, and trance states.
Okay, so I'm just wondering what this cup game is. Is it actually the Ouija board itself,
Yes.
or is it like a different?
Yes.
You know.
So it is their word or their terminology for what is called the use of a Ouija board. It's called the cup game.
Okay.
I've done some research over this the last little bit, and different countries call it different things.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and that's what Bolivians call Ouija board playing.
Cup
That's the cup game.
Wow. That's pretty neat. I just thought it was Ouija all over the world. So
well, and like Katie had mentioned in the chat, they might use a clear plastic cup as opposed to the actual planchette.
now that's true too. Right. Cup game. So it
Right.
would be versus the planchette.
Right.
Yeah. I can't even I need to get my glasses. Let's see.
I want to say hi to Lori. Lori's in the chat with us.
Hi, Lori. Mwah!
She's in
Thanks
chat
for
with us.
tuning in.
She's on my group.
Katie wanted to know, Paul, can you compare it to doing EVPs, the Ouija board?
Heck no. I don't think so, no. Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it, because you are asking questions and you are getting answers. So in a sense, yes, I guess you could say, because you're asking a question and getting a result, whereas in EVP you're asking a question and getting a result sometimes. So in a sense, it can be that way. You want to take the next question?
Yeah, she said, when you do EVPs, are you opening up the door? Yes, definitely. Any tool you use for investigation, you're opening up yourself and a doorway. But, well, I mean, that's really a good question, Katie, because Ouija boards, we always associate Ouija boards with demonic possessions and things like that, or bad spirits. But
Right.
you were right. When we do EVP sessions or divination, whatever it may be, we are opening up that same door.
Right.
But the difference to me, a paranormal investigator or someone who is learning to be in this field, it's a controlled atmosphere, and you know what I mean. You're asking questions and things like that, and it's not mass marketed like the Ouija board game for 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds, and things like
Right.
that. No idea what's going on whatsoever.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the difference for me.
Right. I would have to agree with that. A lot of kids buy this off the shelves and think, "Oh, cool, a new game. I want to see I'm going to see what I can come up with, or see if I can contact something in the spirit world." And to them, it's just a game, and they have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea what they're coming in contact with, and thus that opens the door for things to come through that's not good. They can harm the child, harm the family. I think cause disruption.
Exactly, because I know for me, if you're not 18 years or older, you do not come with me on an investigation.
Right.
I'm trying to protect that 18 and you know what I mean, 17 and under, whatever. I mean, it's just, but I don't even know who makes the Ouija board. I can't remember.
I think it's Milton Bradley. I think.
Yeah. Cool.
I think I'm not 100% sure about that. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. Like, yeah, I was reading what Katie said. She talked about Yes, so it's experience and careful usage and closing off every session, et cetera, et cetera. Then Lori said, 21 to risk, 21 to drink, to 18 to smoke, only 8 to summon Satan.
Or younger.
Or younger,
Yeah,
right? Right.
I believe I do agree. I do agree.
Right. Right. I agree with that 100%.
Right. You know, and it's just so many YouTubers. Okay, I'm just kind of going on with our subject here. So many YouTubers that I have seen that are urban explorers.
Right.
They're trying to be paranormal investigators.
Right.
Who make breaking the law through their videos look glamorous.
Right.
Okay, they make it look fun and exciting and things like that. And first of all, those type of people, I know this isn't very nice of me, but I call them WPIs.
Yep.
WPI, want to be paranormal investigators.
Right. Right.
Oh, that's a WPI. Yeah. They have no clue what they're doing. They have just enough information to make it seem legit. And in all actuality, they're putting your life in danger when you decide to emulate these people.
Right. That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 Because a lot of kids, when we were teens, we know, when you're that age, you're real impressionable. And they say, "Oh, cool! I can go do this too." Oh, and then they think, "Oh, well, I remember there's that abandoned factory that nobody ever works at anymore. Let's go check it out." Then they get a group of friends together and go check it out. And from then on, who's to say what happens at that point? But I mean, it's just not a good thing. It's not.
No, it's terrible. I mean, I have step grandkids ranging from 13 all the way up to 18.
Right.
And I have my 5 grandbabies who are from 5 all the way up to 8.
Right.
But the 13-year-olds all the way up to 18, they're like, "Oh, I want to go and investigate. And we broke into this place," or you know what I mean? It's like, oh
Yeah.
my God. And I'm not there with them because I'm here in Pennsylvania and they're in Missouri.
Right.
But it's like, no, you just can't do this. You can't.
Yeah. It's like, what are you telling me, man?
Well, so and so does it on YouTube. Really? Really? I just kind of I wish I were there so I could just kind of
Right. And Katie made a good point. A lot of times, they break out the booze, drugs, and Ouija and fun times indeed, because they throw a lot of that into it too, which is also, as you and I know, not good.
Exactly.
Because when you're under the influence of that kind of a substance, you can get attached by spirits and things of that nature.
Yeah, that's exactly right, because it's like you're opening yourself up to even more to the unknown.
Right.
Oh.
Exactly. And I read some of Lori's what she had to say, and she said a lot of kids play with the Ouija and have no idea what they are doing, and that's true.
Yeah, that's right. I will tell this story again. I said it when we were our impromptu last week, but
right.
I remember, I think it was like I want to say 8 or 9, and my aunt, she's 3 years older than I am, and she brought out this game, and my twin and I were like, "Oh yeah, let's play." And she's like, "Oh, it's fun." I immediately felt sick. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I shouldn't do this." But
right.
like, even being my twin, and we're very competitive even to this day.
Right.
Sit down and play, Sherry. Blah blah blah. Well, I sat down. We put our hands on the little planchette, but all meanwhile, it was just like my body, my inner self was screaming, "Stop, stop, stop." And I started hyperventilating, and I said, "I can't do this. I can't do this anymore." And I got up and I laughed.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't blame you.
Like,
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I was scared to death, and I was so scared all day long. But of course, my twin brother and my aunt, they played for a little bit. But later
Right.
on, I asked my brother, I said, were you scared? He said, yeah, but it was fun.
Well, my aunt's got a Ouija board, and it's probably over 50 years old. And one of these days, I'll inherit that, and I got to figure out what to do with it. We have a couple questions in chat. Welcome, Gina. She wants to know. Gina Neal wants to know, and I'll let you answer this question how you want to.
That's my daughter-in-law. Hi,
Oh,
Jenna.
okay, Gina Neal. Hi, Gina. What's up? She wants to know what's up with the kitchen lights.
My kitchen lights. What's going on with Are they coming on and off again?
Yes, they are. I wasn't going to say it, but yes, they are.
Oh, well, you know as well as I do, I'm sure, Jenna.
I'll let you answer that how you want to.
And yeah, this house is active, pretty active.
Let me ask you a question. What are your thoughts on games that kids play and teenagers play, like Bloody Mary, light as a feather, stiff as a board? I can tell you what I think about it, but what do you think about all that?
a lot of it's just for scare factor, things like that. I honestly, I don't believe in any of that stuff.
Right.
Especially me. So when you play it, but when you're impressionable and you're young and it scares the crap out of you, that's not a good thing, because
No.
it will affect you for a long time.
Right. Well, let me tell you a story about me. When I was probably a teen, I was at my grandmother's house, and me and a bunch of my cousins were doing Bloody Mary, and we saw her.
Okay.
But it was not her, of course. You and I both.
Wait. Wait. Okay.
Okay.
So, who, first of all, knows what Bloody Mary looks like?
Nobody does. Nobody does. But we've seen pictures, and the funny thing about that is I'm actually related to her through ancestry. I'm related to Mary Queen of Scots. That's kind of an oddball thing, isn't it?
Okay.
But
so you actually saw Mary Queen of Scots when you played the game. And how old were you?
I was probably 14, 15 years old.
Okay, you gotta finish this story.
Well, okay. Well, we were in there doing that, and we looked in the mirror, and we saw what appeared to be a Victorian age queen with hair up in a ball like they wore, and the big, shirt cuff, high decorative, deal that they wear, and she had blood streaming down her face, things of that nature.
Okay.
And back then I didn't know what I was looking at, but now I know now what it was, but in those days I did not. Does that make sense?
So why did they call Mary Queen of Scots Bloody Mary? I see. I think that's a fictional thing, and I also think it's like when you go to like the Crybaby Bridges, bridge, and this woman that lost her baby, and you know what I mean. It's just it's a scare. It's just a bunch of BS. I'm putting it out there.
Well, it is, but here's the thing that I think
that you're not related to Mary, Queen of Scots, but the Bloody Mary, that's
people tie the Bloody Mary in with the Mary Queen of Scots because she was pretty insane and killed lots of people and used to bathe in their blood and all that kind of stuff. So that's where all that comes in. She used to kill young women and bathe in their blood because she thought that she would
keep her young, right?
Keep her young, yeah. And I think that's all that ties into that. But
and you are related to her, right?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
I've never come into your house, Paul.
Yes, I am. I don't know why, but I am. I am. She's one of my ancestors, actually. And it's something I'm not really proud of, but it is what it is, right?
Oh my gosh, I had to throw that out there.
Well, it's all good, but that's when we have a discussion. But even though you think about, well, that's just a bunch of kids games and scare games, things of that nature. But then you have to think about, well, something can come in and pose as that or something that looks like that and be something different altogether. Might be a dark energy or something, or it could be a demonic spirit or something of that nature. And that's another thing I got to look at is, I wasn't actually seeing that. I was seeing something that was not good posing as that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Right.
Yep.
Lori she stated in the chat that when she was 12, she actually saw the planchette lift up and fly through the room and scared the crap out of her, when she,
But the Ouija board.
yeah.
Is there anything else that's I need to start wearing my glasses. I do apologize, you guys. I can't.
No, I'm looking, and everybody's just kind of chit chatting, that kind of a deal. There's no questions right now or statements or anything of that nature. So we can go on to the next subject if you want, or just continue.
I mean, and also divination tools, which we've kind of touched on a little bit. Ouija boards. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Divination rods, which are these right here, which I have.
Right.
I only use these for paranormal investigations. A lot of you would call these, oh my gosh, the thought just like dowsing rods.
Dowsing rods, right?
Divination rods, spirit rods.
Right.
Ends covered at all times. I have a little velvet pouch. And Jenna has seen these 100 times.
Right.
So,
right.
That's a form of that's divination tools. Pendulums, I don't have it, but that's like with the crystal and you hang it
right
from a chain and it'll rock back and forth or
right
front and back. And a lot of kids use these things and they don't know how to use them properly. They don't know
right.
that they should cover themselves, protect themselves before they do it.
Right.
Ghost apps on your phone. That is a big one. 90% of them, 99.99% of them are BS.
Or garbage.
It's
entertainment purposes only, but it's the intent that they go and use them with, right?
It's the intent. And if
right.
you have an intent of seeking something out, you're going to find it. And then you're going to get scared. I mean, it's so, it blows my mind on how many different things that are out there that suck the younger generation and the kids into this.
Yeah. Or they see it.
Horrible danger.
Or they see it on TV.
Right.
Or YouTube.
Or YouTube.
Right.
Yeah. Especially like these people who start calling out demonic names.
This is how they do it. So let's do what they do. And you know what I'm talking about, but this is what they do. So let's do what they do, right?
Right. And so, they're getting fed all of this stuff. And they think, oh my gosh, I want to go do this.
Right.
I feel so bad because I wish I could do every one of them.
Well, you'd be surprised how many investigations I've done personally that had to do with somebody watching TV and they tried something at home and opened up a lot of stuff. And we had to go in and, trying to see what we could do to help them out, because they saw it on TV or they saw it on YouTube or they played with the board, with the Witcher board or Ouija board, whatever. There's probably at least, I don't know how many, but there's quite a few that I could go in depth about those kinds of things.
Right. Yeah. They're emulating what they see.
Right. Exactly.
The kids. So.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to read chat here.
Yeah. Let's see what it says.
Oh, Katie said it's all about making money. Yes. On TV and yes, I do agree.
Momo. I'm not familiar with what the Momo thing is. I'm sorry, Lori. She
You know,
says,
I heard that that was just that was no one has actually seen the Momo. I
right.
don't know. You know, they're just saying that they did it
Oh,
for
I know what it is now.
well, they're saying that they did to get views or whatever or attention. So I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
there's a one thing I will say about it, and you and I can talk. You know, we can either agree or disagree with each other on it. But there is a an entity that if you watch a lot of YouTube sessions, that were lot of YouTube videos where people actually use the Ouija board. There's an entity that always comes up, and it's called. It starts with a Z, and it's I want to say it on here for obvious reasons.
Right.
If that's okay with you, unless you want to say it, but I'm not going
No,
to.
I'm not going to even mention it because I just in case. But for me,
Yeah.
it doesn't. You know, I think that's also entertainment.
Well, I do
and
too. I do
name,
too.
but
But the problem lies. Here's where the problem lies. Something coming forward and appearing is that when its intent is it's not that particular entity, but it's a something else much darker. But it comes forward and says, "Hey, my name is this," you know, and it could be something a lot darker than what this other thing is. You know what I mean?
right.
It's posing as it's posing as this one thing, but comes through as
That's the
something else
name, but
altogether.
it's something else. Yeah.
Bingo, there you go.
Right.
That'd be the only way I would say that that because I think it's too much of a common thing with playing with Ouija boards and and if you look at every one of them, it comes through, and I think the chances of that is probably you know maybe 50-50 or something
Right.
because it's not always going to be the same thing over and over and over. And so I think when it does come truly through, it's something appearing to be this, and it's not. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
It's something much darker. It's a much darker entity, but it's posing as this other entity.
Right. Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
And that's what I think about that is, that's my thoughts on it. There's some people that may disagree with me, but that's okay because that's what I think about it.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see. William Bennett says, as far as Momo, the urban myth, it would be better as a tool to learn what is real and what is fake. Hoax online. That's true.
That's true.
And Katie says, it wants to attract the person to it first. Later, it attacks. Yes.
That's right. That's right. 100% correct. And that goes along with what I'm talking about. See, it wants to attract. Oh, and see, they're doing the sessions. Oh, that's that. Remember that in that session we saw, that's what came forward before. See, in their
Right.
session, so it gets their attention. Say,
That's right.
does that make sense? But indeed, it's not that. It's something much more sinister.
Yes. It's
You know what I
drawing
mean?
them in.
Exactly what Katie said is 100% correct.
That's right. And I just I'm really I can't stress enough the protection that you need to have. If you're gonna go out and do this stuff. I mean, granted, these kids aren't thinking about it
Right.
because
Right.
they don't know.
Right. Right.
They don't know. But anybody can grab a recorder and ask questions and get a response, hopefully.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a form of opening up yourself up to that type, to the world, to that different world, that different realm.
Right.
But if you don't know how to protect yourself, your life can be turned upside down by unseen forces.
It can be. It can
You know what I
be.
mean? Look, you're out having fun, carrying a recorder around, and you play it back later, and you actually get an EVP, which is an electronic voice phenomenon. Okay.
Right.
Well,
Right.
guess what? while you're out having that fun and turning that recorder on and you're asking all these questions to all these kids who just go out for like the urban explorers, the WPIs is what I call them.
Right.
That spirit or demonic entity was standing right there next to you, looking right at you in order for you to get that EVP.
It was.
Think about that for a minute and let it sink in. You're out there having fun and you're trying to get scared, and even though you might not see anything at that time, and you're in an abandoned building illegally, the fun factor is all there for you, and then you're like, we didn't get anything. This place blows. You go back home, you listen to your recorder, and you get all these things that are talking to you on the recorder. That means the spirit was right there in front of your face or right there in your recorder talking.
And then see that in turn entices them to go back and do the same thing again.
No, well, or either that they get so scared they're like, oh my gosh, but it's too late at that point.
Right. They've already done it.
Because that spirit or demonic entity can also attach itself to you. Now you're in a situation where your spiritual welfare is in danger. And when you go home and you're playing all this stuff back, you've now put your whole family in danger from that attachment as well.
Right.
They don't know any of this.
Nope, they don't. And that's what the sad part of it is they don't realize the repercussions that can happen by opening themselves up to this kind of a thing, you know? Right.
It's not fun and games. What true paranormal investigators do, it's research. And there's hours and hours and hours of controlled environments. There's hours and hours and hours of boredom. Nothing happens. And then when we go home, we have to listen to all those hours and hours on audio and watch them on video just in the hopes of possibly getting something.
Right. And
research, not fun and games and scare factor.
Yeah, and a lot of what I like to say is, you know, once you communicate with something, they know that you're there, and then now you know it's there, and it knows that you know it's there. A lot of times, you know, unfortunately, and a lot of times it's not good that what is there in communication with you, because the person's contacted something that's definitely not a good thing to contact.
You called it out.
You called it out, right?
And I like how a lot of people, I've noticed a lot of paranormal investigators do the same thing, which I just cringe, but I don't say anything. Because it's just whatever. That's what they do. But investigators, I've heard numerous different ones. Is there anybody out there that would like to talk to me? No, we don't do that. Are there any human spirits that would like to talk to me?
You got to be specific.
Exactly. But so many people don't do that. So they're opening up all kinds of hell, basically, literally.
Yeah, they are. And, you know, unless, of course, they're a seasoned investigator and know what they're dealing with, then make sure that like you said, you know,
you have to be specific. Are there any human spirits out there? You know what I mean? Or I'm only talking. I'm talking to the human spirits only. You know what I mean? Anything else other than those spirits? And that's just like, oh my gosh! I hear so many investigators do that. I'm like,
they do. Well, because they don't know who they're talking to. They're just trying to get something to communicate. They don't know what they're talking to. It could be a demonic entity. It may not. You know, it could be a malicious entity. Who knows? I mean, it could be a number of different things. You know.
Or I like how they say, "Was that you that made that noise?"
Yeah, was that you that made that noise?
Really? Okay.
Right. It's kind of funny.
Absolutely specific.
Yep. You gotta be specific, folks.
investigation. Yeah.
Yep. Unless you know what you're dealing with, you gotta be specific.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's just paranormal investigating 101. You know, that's one of those wonderful things that 111 topics that the seasoned investigators know to do, as opposed to the ones that do not know. Let's see, I'm reading chat real quick. I'm sorry, bear with me here.
That's okay.
If they do the research about the place, they know who to call on. Yeah, that's correct. That's what Katie says. Correct. If they do the research, then they know who to call on.
Correct.
You know, and then she says, most ghost hunters, to me, they're not investigators. Don't research. They just walk in blind.
That's right. See, and it's not just the kids and people who don't know the dangers and stuff. It's investigators. It is those who have become lackadaisical, who have, for whatever reasons, or had never educated themselves to begin with.
Right. I mean, if
They absolutely make it really hard for those of us who truly are doing our research and are doing this for a reason, and who are taking this seriously.
yeah, I mean, if you're gonna investigate, do your research. Do your research on the location. Look up the history on it. You know, get permission. All those do your homework. Basically, don't just go in blind. Because if you go in blind,
Right.
you're asking for trouble. You're asking to get attacked. You're asking for something to follow you home. Like, so you're asking for some sort of an attachment of some sort. You know.
Right. Right.
Right. Exactly. But you know, that's my recommendation. I mean, if you're gonna do an investigation, do your homework. I mean, folks, it's so important, especially if you're going to a client's house. If you have a client that you're going to go investigate, please do your preliminary investigation. You know, see what sorts of things are going on. Make sure that they're not, you know, they don't have some kind of a psychological problem. You know, all those things are important when you investigate, because if you don't do that, you're walking into an investigation this blind as all get out. And like I said, you're opening yourselves for attack. You know, you're opening not only for yourselves and your team, but you're also going to open yourselves up for the client to get physically attacked. Because you have to remember, when you leave the location, that's their home. They don't get to leave unless they just want to move or something, you know. And like let's see, I'm just give me a second. William said most don't. You're talking about people that go to a site in the dark with some walkie talkies and K2s and stumble around in the dark. Yeah, that's true, William. That's exactly true. And you know, and like Katie said, research the history of the home and area. Yeah, this, you know, and it's not hard to do research. If you're not good with doing research, just get somebody to help you. You know, get somebody to help you do that. Get somebody that you trust to do the research for you. If you don't know how to look stuff up, find somebody that does know how to look stuff up. There's always a way to get your research. You know what I mean? There's always a way to getting your information one way or the other.
Right. And it's like what I really am disgusted about the most is a lot of these paranormal investigators who are supposedly popular in the TV world.
Right.
Entertainment purposes only, folks. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say.
Exactly.
They don't care about anything but making that dollar and showing their TV. Period.
Making that dollar, fabricating evidence.
Exactly. But there's, you know, these kids are so impressionable, and they're like, I want to do what they're doing, and da 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 da. You know, do your research. Find you a good paranormal group around your area.
Right.
I don't care it takes you 4 or 5 times to find the one that you just click with, you got to make sure that they're legit, make sure that they're not fabricating evidence, and make sure that they're first and foremost keeping themselves safe and you. Period. End of story.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you know, the best way to investigate, like Sherry said, and I'm going to elaborate more on that if it's okay.
Yeah.
But if you want to investigate legally, and not run into any kind of trouble with any kind of attachments, things of that nature, find you a team there locally that does that does investigate paranormally. See what they're about. If you have to, say, hey, contact Sherry or myself or anybody, and Katie, Lori, whoever, and say, hey, can you do me a favor and check on this group and see what they're about? If you don't know the questions to ask, find somebody that does know the questions to ask, and find out what they're about. If they're about the way, if they conduct investigations the way you believe in, make sure, things of that nature. If you don't believe in using the Ouija board, which I don't, and I know Sherry don't, but if they do, find out if they do that, because you may not want to be a part of that investigation. If they do that, do your homework on that too, because there are some good, reliable, trusting teams out there, but you have to do your homework and find out who they are.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yep.
And I know for me, I'm responsible because I founded my group way back when. I am responsible not only for myself, but everyone in my group.
Right, right.
Okay? And I do prayers before we make sure that everybody's protected as whatever they believe in.
Right.
And and after each investigation that we do, smudging, whatever it is.
Right.
So, and so many people don't. They just go into these buildings, and what really upsets me as well, they're not going into these buildings. They're just only trying to contact something or
Right.
See if they get evidence or whatever.
Right.
They're not actually trying to figure out why these spirits are there and trying to help.
Right.
That right there is my pet peeve. People
Right.
go to places just for the hell of it and they don't have any intention on figuring the story out and
Right.
help if they can.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's just wrong to me.
It is.
More than one time.
Yeah.
It takes once.
Yeah.
Go into it.
And there again, that goes along with me saying, when a team goes into a home to investigate a home for a person or a client, rather, to find out what's going on in their homes and things of that nature, when they leave, whatever impact you have at that particular time with those entities, that stays there with them a lot of occasions. They have to deal with what you have conjured up, if it's something bad or if it's not something bad. If whatever what I'm saying, they have to deal with whatever you come in contact with. It stays there, and they are. So if you go in there and cause a bunch of ruckus, and leave, and like provoking and things of that nature, that family has to deal with that.
Right. And that's what I tell my clients. I tell them, look, first of all, when I decide to take the case, because we talked about this earlier, I have questionnaires, I have a preliminary walkthrough.
Right.
I have a warrant that this place is actually some place that I'm going to go in
Right.
and see if it's actually legit. What I feel is haunted or activity. After the questionnaire is filled out, whatnot, I tell them when I call them on the phone, okay,
Right.
now that I am agreeing to come out, before I get there, I can guarantee you the activity is going to ramp up 100%.
Right.
And when I leave, this activity will probably be ramped up until we figure out, or until I figure out what
Right.
it is, how it's happening, you know, all that good stuff. So,
Right.
and that's generally the case. I warn them. But people, other paranormal investigators who are just going out for the hell of it, I don't mean to cuss, but
No,
it's
it's okay.
like they don't know about any of that stuff. They don't care. It's just about
The thrill.
getting out there and doing it. And these poor clients, these poor homeowners are like, oh my gosh, what's happening? You know, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You know, and there's so many, and we've talked about this last week, the term professional.
right.
There's so many people that call themselves professionals.
Thunder, I don't care what you tell me.
Right.
You
Yeah.
cannot be a professional ghost hunter.
Tiki
You
is
didn't go to college to be a professional ghost hunter.
exactly. And a lot of these people, you know, they may have just
Well,
well, well, you know, a lot of these people may have been out just kind of getting the thrill of it and say, oh, well, let's start doing people's houses, you know, and they go in and cause a ruckus. And, you know, I've had to clean up, you know, people's houses because of what former teams have went in and done and things of that nature and clean up their messes and things like that, you know. And I believe T Kids, you know who she is, if I
yeah,
recall.
kids,
She wants to know, do you think the show The Dead Files is real? I think it's kind of sketchy. Any thoughts on that question?
comment on that. I believe that the person, the lady, is legit, honestly, because she's a sensitive, a psychic, or I don't know. Is she a psychic? I don't.
I think she's a paranormal sensitive
Sensitive or psychic? Okay.
or something of that nature. Yeah.
She may, yeah, I think she has ability. And I've heard nothing but good things about that woman off camera, versus, you know what I mean, and even on camera. So, but as far as the show itself and the way it's made to believe they don't have contact with each other, I'm not even going to go there. So.
Yeah. I'm not going to elaborate on that myself.
Yeah,
I know what my personal thoughts are, but obviously I'm not going to say it on here for legality purposes. So
I know I probably opened up a can of worms I shouldn't have.
I believe
that she is legit. I do.
I believe like you do. I believe that she's legit. I do believe she's a true paranormal sensitive, and that's about as far as I'm going with that.
I'm trying to read chat here.
He's talking about William's talking about how they fabricate something or manufacture something to happen. You know, when things aren't happening, they fabricate something to start happening on shows that are on TV, things like that.
Right. Yeah, they're fake. You're correct, William.
Yep. Entertainment purposes only.
Exactly. That's what I tell all of my clients when I go in and decide to take the case. It's like whatever you've seen on TV, YouTube, whatever you've heard on Twitter, you know, read on Twitter or Instagram.
Right.
Get it out of your mind right now. Entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, because
9.9% of it. Okay.
Well, you know,
I mean, there's honestly, Paul, you know, I'm not knocking those of us who truly are
right,
legit and who have stuff up on YouTube. Like, I don't know, you guys need to check my channel here. I've got some stuff that's happening here in my house, and it happens quite often. So it is definitely active. And, but as we all know, it doesn't happen on my time when I want it. It happens on their time. So
doesn't happen on cue. It doesn't happen when we want it to happen.
Right. That's right.
It happens when you're not expecting it to happen.
Exactly.
Well, I told you about that case I had before one time that we were investigating, and a guy said, Well, that's not how Ghost Adventures does it. I told you that. I told you about that, right?
No.
Yeah, one time we were doing an investigation, and somebody says, well, that's not how Ghost Adventures does it. And I said, well, I don't do the way I don't do what they do on TV. I do it myself. I do things my way. I said, what you see on TV is not real. I said, it's fabricated. You know, it's for entertainment purposes only.
Right.
I don't copy what they do. I do things the way I want the way that I feel them that they need to be done.
Right. I mean, it's even been like interviews and stuff behind the scenes that the directors will purposely not tell people on the.
Unlock your phone to do this.
There it goes. Right on time.
What
Right
time
on
is
time. It would be 8:52 your 8:19 your time. No, 9:19 your time.
Okay.
And that's about the time it happens.
All the time. I mean,
Yep.
you know, it's called Bixby, but I guess you guys have series. I have an F series or whatever. Siri?
You need to unlock your phone first.
Yep. Do it again. Yep. Let's do it again.
iPhone has Siri or Siri.
Yes. Siri. iPhone Siri. Bixby's Android.
Android has Bixby, and this is Bixby.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah. And
Yep.
it's around this time almost every night.
Yeah.
My phone starts talking to me out of nowhere.
Yep. I'm a witness to that because I've witnessed it I don't know how many times. It does it all the time.
Times now, man.
Yeah. It does it all the time, y'all. It does it all the time. No joke.
Maybe what it says is, I do not recognize what you say. Please repeat. Or something. And then it said, you need to something about unlocking your phone. Unlock your phone to unlock your phone.
Yeah, it's like and she doesn't even.
Are you kidding me?
And she doesn't even touch it. It does it by itself.
No. It's voice activated. You have to say, okay, let me do this. Okay, I will do this just so everybody knows how this works. Hello, Bixby. Now it's listening. Please say hello. Oh, now it's not going to work. Hi, Bixby. What is the Earth? He's not going to do anything. But he is listening. Make a fool out of me, why don't you? Oh. Are you there, Paul?
I'm here. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Now I can.
I'm sorry. I forgot to turn off the mute. My bad. My apologies.
Okay. Well, anyway, you have to say hi, Bixby, and then you ask it a question. Oh.
Unlock your phone to do this.
And that's what he says to me all the time. But you have to say hi and the name, just like Alexa.
Right. Exactly.
But he made a fool of me a while ago when I was trying to make him work.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
That ought to show you or tell you that it doesn't work half the time.
Right.
But every night between 8:45, 9 o'clock.
Yep. It starts.
Bixby starts talking to me.
Yep. Every day, every time I've seen you on video, yeah, it does it every time.
That's right.
It does not disappoint, y'all.
That's right. I mean, and it's a constant thing too.
Light just came on.
The light?
Yeah, it just went off.
I don't see the light. Of course, you know what I mean.
Right.
I don't have myself pulled up, so
it's all good. It's all good.
I like this little remote mouse.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Wireless.
Yeah, I should say wireless. So yeah.
Yeah, wireless mouse. Yeah.
Well, are there any questions in the chat? I mean, are there any questions that you have about the dangers of investigating or whatever that you'd like for us to answer.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't have my glasses.
Yeah. I'm reading here. Now, Katie said, regarding the Bixby, someone is trying to reach out to you, perhaps.
I'm thinking so as well. And I will say, honestly, the Bigsby, okay, did not start happening until after my husband passed away.
Right.
I'm
Makes
just
you
saying.
makes you want to correct it.
He's been gone October 21st of 2017.
Okay. We have a question in chat.
Go
Katie
ahead, Paul.
Katie wants to know what is your go-to protection method?
Go ahead. You can answer that, and then I will.
Okay. My protection method is, I believe in, God and Jesus, things of that nature. So I pray for protection over me and my people on my team. Put a circle of light around us. That kind of a thing. Keep us safe. That sort of thing. And then when we're done, then we again pray that if anything that has come on contact with us will stay here and not follow us home, and things of that nature. We say our prayer for that, and then of course people have their own. Um, People have their own. I want to say necklaces and things of that nature that they feel that kind of watches over them. Like I wear my cross necklace, my Native American Indian necklace. Things like that. People have what they consider their own personal protection, and I have mine, and I'm sure you have yours, but that's what we do. To, in a nutshell.
Right. And that kind of goes along with me too. I have my religious beliefs first and foremost, and then I also have crystals and stones that I wear when I go on investigations, all different types. And I also have this necklace here, which I'm sure that you guys have seen. I don't know if you can see that. My life.
Yep. Beautiful.
Celtic cross.
Yep.
Was my husband's. He would let me wear it when he was alive when I would go on investigations, and now I wear
Oh,
it
nice.
all the time. And by the
Nice.
way, I'm sitting in this big rocking chair. Usually I'm in a really high back chair or whatnot, but I figured for this series, my husband was with me the very first time I started Veridical Radio with Paul
Right.
many years ago. And this was my husband's chair. I had not sat in this chair since he passed. And
Right.
fitting that he be here with me through Veridical TV. So, but anyway, that's kind of off the subject. But anyway, I my cross, my prayers, I do smudging before, after investigations.
Right.
So it's just a different variety of things that I do.
Right. And I have some things I do on my own. Like that I wouldn't. I don't want to like. I don't like the word ritual, but like cleansing the type rituals, things of that nature. Kind of clear my head and my energy. That kind of a thing. You know what I mean? And William Bennett says protections vary between religious beliefs, and that's true too.
Exactly. Okay, just for example, since we're talking about religion, which I really don't like to do that, but
Right.
my belief is Protestant versus Catholic.
Right.
So
Mine
if
too.
you were to come out to my home and start spreading holy water everywhere, it wouldn't work for me because I don't believe in the holy water like Catholics
Right.
do,
I don't
and vice versa. You know what I mean? So you have to believe. If you were to call someone out to protect your home, you got to believe in it, or it's not going to work.
Exactly. Believe in what you're showing. Believe in that. Because if you don't, it ain't gonna work. No.
Exactly. Well, is there anything else that you want to talk about tonight, Paul, or should we wrap this up?
Well, I think we can. I think we can wrap it up. You know, we just kind of covered some things. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of stuff we could talk about, but you know, we can do that for another time. But I hope that's just kind of like the entry level discussions that we can talk about regarding paranormal investigation, you know, and things of that nature.
Right. I mean, this is just the beginning. So
Right.
next week, I'm not sure if we're going to be doing it Friday or Saturday. I'm not sure yet. So just I'll post everything on social media, and I'm sure you will too, Paul.
Yes, I will.
We're thinking about maybe going an hour later on Friday night next week, if that'll help everybody. So,
right.
But next week's topic, I think I'm wanting to do paranormal experiences. What is the most memorable experience you've had dealing with the paranormal? Okay.
Right.
And so you can get a hold of me on Facebook or Paul and let us know your stories, and I'll read them online, you know, live here. So next week.
Right.
And we'll talk about ours.
Oh yeah, I got a bunch.
That or another topic, which I'm kind of debating right now. So one of the two.
Yeah, Katie, it was good to see you too.
Huh?
I said it was good to see Katie as well.
Yeah, still send us your stories.
And Lori and everybody else. I can't remember everybody. I'm sorry. T Kids, William, etc. I'm trying to see who all. I'm sorry, Jenna. Thanks for everybody coming in that were in chat, and thanks for the ones that didn't chat that were watching too.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in and live here with us. And those of you who are going to watch us later, thank you as well.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you like what you're seeing. And we have many, many more subjects to go. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening.
Yes, have a great weekend.
Thank you so much again for tuning in. And we'll talk to you soon. Okay?
Sure. Subscribe and hit the like button too, by the way.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Guys.